Today's Dallas Cowboys report is presented by Manscaped. You can get the Ultra Premium Collection and all of their men's grooming products at manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping when you use promo code Cowboys. Today's video is a look at some potential cut and trade candidates for the Dallas Cowboys following the 2022 NFL Draft, because the Cowboys, even though there is some buffer time a little bit, are over the roster limit as we sit right now. They have 93 players on their active roster following 9 draft picks and 20 undrafted free agent signings that aren't fully official, but that's part of like the buffer timing I'm talking about here. I'll make note that Isaac Alarcon is an exempt player at this point. He still counts under the International Player Pathway program, so he's a freebie on your roster. But the Cowboys do have to cut at least 2 more players. Could be smaller guys, could be a bigger guy like Antoine Woods, for example, last year. If the Cowboys make a notable moves or make any notable moves, obviously we will do a video on that. So keep an eye on it and make sure you guys are subscribed. That way you don't miss out on any of the Cowboys news here by subscribing to the Cowboys Report. First up on my list, and this is Tarell Basham. Now, I think Basham might be maybe more of a roster cut-down move because you always want depth at edge, but he has a tough path to make the roster, and he saves $1.75 million if cut or traded, something Catboy does love after all. The Cowboys right now on their defensive line, or on the defensive end depth chart, you've got DeMarcus Lawrence, Dorrance Armstrong, D. Williams, Chauncey Golston. Now, those guys are going to make your roster as your 4 with just your investments from a contract and draft pick perspective. That then leaves Dante Fowler, Tarell Basham. I think Fowler's got the edge of Basham specifically as it relates to right this second, plus UDFAs and Big Cat Bryant, etc. Basham is what he is. He can give you about 3.5 sacks per year. Maybe he bumps up to 4 or 5 in a big-time year, but I don't think he's ever going to be a high-end rotation player. He's behind Dorrance Armstrong, right? He's behind Parsons when it comes to actual editors. So he gives you nice depth, but he might be edge 6 right now on this roster. They might not carry 6. So I would think Basham might make more sense as an August release or trade, but I do want to mention him here in May because, well, he was a loser after the drafting of D. Williams. Now, who do you think the Cowboys cut or trade? I'm going to make this question the pinned comment on today's video. So if the ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know who you think the Cowboys are going to cut or trade in the coming days. Braylon Jones. And if your action is, who the hell is Braylon Jones? That's exactly why I put him on this list. UDFA last year. Jones did not play, spent some time on the practice squad. But the Cowboys have bodies at center, which was, I think, Jones' natural spot. And it is what he's listed, after all, on the Cowboys' active roster. Biadasz, Farniok, they add Alec Lindstrom from Boston College and James Empey out of BYU. That's 4 centers plus Braylon Jones. Now, you could maybe try Jones at guard, but like Lindstrom and Empey didn't really offer you a bunch of positional flex, especially Lindstrom, so you don't need all those centers. Jones is like, if I had to guess on one of them, he would be my pick as to which one is most likely to get cut. Now for another big name, Connor McGovern. With the drafting of Tyler Smith, with the lack of desire from the Cowboys, apparently, to play McGovern at center, which I would, again, like to try him there and see what happens. McGovern appears stuck as a backup, and there are some significant cap savings here, $2.54 million if he is cut or traded. McGovern is better at right guard. That has been his best spot, minus like the little fun hybrid fullback package, but, you know, $2.54 million is a lot to play for a fullback with. He plays 5 snaps a game. He struggled on the left side. I do think McGovern might have some trade value. So I do not want to cut him. Worst case, I'll just keep him as my backup right guard or backup left guard. I guess he can be your swing guard again this year, even though he wasn't good on that side of the line. But I don't really see a path for him starting. So if there is that trade value, I would be open to shopping him, since I think this will likely end up being his last year in Dallas, unless the Cowboys surprise me and give him a shot finally at center. So what would you guys do with Connor McGovern. I'm not cutting him. I think that'd be a silly mistake. Let me know in the comments. K for you're going to keep him, or T for you're going to trade him. You should trade in, by the way, your old men's grooming products, and I pray to God you're not using the exact same stuff for your junk that you do your face. I know. Intern Jack might be doing that, but that's not something we're trying to do here. That's why we got him hooked up with Manscaped. You should too. 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com when you use promo code Cowboys. You can also get the Ultra Premium collection, the awesome, top-of-the-line, next-level stuff from Manscaped. Deodorant, body spray, body wash, shampoo, and conditioner. The body spray came in handy here for our draft coverage because a long time, a lot of sweat involved a little bit there, so it just helped things smell a little better. Way better than Axe, producer Jeremy says. I agree. Go get yours today. 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com when you use promo code Cowboys. Let's go defense, or back to defense, I should say here. Josiah Bronson, who was a late-season practice squad addition by the Cowboys. He did play a little bit for the New Orleans Saints last year. Didn't play, of course, for the Cowboys. The addition of John Ridgeway adds more bodies to this unit, especially in light of the maybe not zero chance they bring back Brent Urban. Neville Gallimore, Osa Odigizua, Carlos Watkins, Trysten Hill, who we'll get to in a second, Quinton Bohanna, and John Ridgeway are all obviously ahead of Bronson. I kind of like Austin Faleu. I think I'm mispronouncing that. I'll double-check it here for you guys. The UDFA last year out of Oregon, who I think that I would rather keep just from an age perspective from that standpoint as it relates to the back end of the defensive line roster. Trysten Hill is the other name I want to keep an eye out for. Now, we know that the Cowboys can utilize Carlos Watkins as a 3 technique at points as well, and clearly Trysten Hill is stuck behind the likes of others, including Osa Odigizua and Neville Gallimore, and to be blunt, he has simply not lived up to expectations in any real capacity. So what do you guys think? Would you keep Trysten Hill? Y for yes, N for no. I want to hear from you guys in the comments section. What would you do with Hill? For now, I think I would keep him. I don't have to cut Trysten Hill right now, and I doubt there's any trade value, but I would put Trysten Hill on the roster bubble entering the season because, well, he hasn't done anything of note in his admittedly brief but still there time in the NFL. He has been a disappointment. I don't know how else to describe it other than that because he hasn't been a good football player. He hasn't been. He has 2 tackles for loss and a half sack. That is certainly not going to get it done in the NFL. So big offseason coming up. There are some savings to be had there, but I think I'd buy him just a little bit more time. Let's go to some of the bigger names at corner. And I think the uncertainty in the draft process keeps things safer for both Anthony Brown and Jourdan Lewis. Now, there is money to be saved. We've talked about both these guys as cut trade candidates in the past. There's $5 million savings for Anthony Brown, $2.3 for Jourdan Lewis. But given the, I believe, still uncertainty around what you'll actually have with Kelvin Joseph, it's a little tough to move on from these guys after having only spent a 5th-round pick on DaRon Bland. So of these two, what do you guys like more? Type JL for Jourdan Lewis or type in AB for Anthony Brown. It's an opinion. You can't be wrong. Let me know in the comments. I would like to remind everyone that Anthony Brown actually played pretty well this past year. Yes, there's a lot of yards allowed. Remember, the Cowboys, in terms of like just pass attempts against their defense, were one of, if not, I think they were the outright highest in the NFL, and you mainly use 3 corners all year. So guess what's going to happen? You're going to have some yards allowed. He broke up 17 passes, 3 interceptions, allowed barely a 53.5% completion rate. That's really good stuff. Jourdan Lewis allowed fewer yards at a higher completion percentage. Again, nickel corner, didn't play as much, often gets more of the short end of the areas there, so you tend to see a higher completion percentage. I thought Anthony Brown played, Trayvon Diggs played great, Anthony Brown played well, and Jourdan Lewis played good enough. Now, you would like to have Kelvin Joseph emerge, maybe Nashawn Wright, but I don't think you have the depth in light of the Kelvin Joseph uncertainty to say, yes, We are so good at corner. We don't need either of these guys. Had they spent the second or third round pick, maybe I would have changed my tune, but I don't see that happening as it relates to the Cowboys situation at corner. Some other lesser-known cut candidates who I just want to mention here. Avante Collins, the former TCU lineman who spent time on the practice squad last year. You added some guys there in the draft. You don't need that much depth. Ian Bunting you're a little bit deep at tight end. You brought back Jeremy Sprinkle, so I doubt you cut him. You also added Peyton Hendershot. Maybe Bunting is your odd man out there. Austin Thaliu, I think I got that one right that time, the former Oregon pass rusher, practice squad guy last year. I'd keep him over Brunson. Kyron Brown was back and forth in the practice squad last year for the Cowboys. Isn't a elite player, but you might not want to have less depth at that spot. And although I think the Texas Tech kid that they brought on is going to win the job, Chris Nagar could also be a cut. I think they'll let those two guys end up competing, but I like that Tech kid quite a bit. If you have thoughts on who you want the Cowboys to cut, feel free to DM me on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney. And also, I put all our videos out there, so in case you don't get a push for whatever reason, hit me up on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney.